I understand we have your dentist here in the audience.
I sure do. That's the man in the hat back there, Dr. Montez. If you're not going to him, you're going to the wrong dentist. He always gets so touched when I say that, but I always tell the truth. And he is. If you don't brush your teeth 5 times a day, or right now if you're going home, like I did, that's your dentist back there, a marvelous man. Yeah, Dr. Montez. Yeah, I got some great people here. Every single one of you out there showing up. I feel like I'm Bob Gurr. I really do. So I'm just about to be 65, and I can't wait. I love another year on Earth because I feel that being a human being is so special. But here's the thing. I'm half black. You may not have known that. But if you didn't, this is a clue. My dad and mother fell in love when Rosa Parks was fighting for her place on the bus, and then they had this crazy little girl, their oldest, TERRI HARDin. Now, my mother was a isolated white woman who had lost her parents when she was 10 years old and was adopted by the Wicked Witch of the West. And unfortunately, this was very hard on her, but she went to college and she saw the most beautiful black man walk into the room, and she forgot where she was. She forgot her name. She forgot she was engaged. I could have been a McNutt. But 1 year later, they were married, and they couldn't get married in their state because he was black and she was white, and you'll be surprised to hear that that state was California. They had to go to Mexico to get married. And so my father said, tolerance, a good heart, a sweet voice. You can waste your time with a chip on your shoulder, Spike Lee, or you can look at people and understand that sometimes they don't know what they don't know. So when someone looks at you and says, what the hell are you? They really don't mean what the hell are you? They're just kind of shocked because they've never seen a unicorn before. And so you kindly say, woman, man, could you be more specific with your question? And my dad said, if you always have humor and a smile, and you always meet it kindly, people will begin to understand how great you each and every one of you are. Whether you're a person of color, which I don't know what that means because everybody's a color. I mean, really? But okay, whatever. So it's my father. It's my dad. He's just my mom too. They're pioneers. I mean, 2 people who fell in love at a time. And many of you out there know what this is like. Many of you know what it's like to not be allowed to get married. Okay? So it doesn't really need. It's not specific really. Every time we have these challenges, and we're having more challenges now than ever before, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh. My poor parents. I'm a June baby. Any June babies in here? Yeah. Did your parents like cry? Because we're really dangerously creative. What that means is that we do things that your parents don't understand. At 2 years old, my mother put me down for a nap, and when she went to get me, I was gone in LA. Now, this was earlier, but she ran out looking for her daughter, and 2 stories up, walking on the scaffolding, was me. And my mother went to yell, but she stopped herself, because if she yells at her child might be afraid, and her child could fall. So she grabbed the nearest construction worker, and she said, and the construction went, hooey! And just as I was about to take flight, someone caught me. So my mother said this was, well, basically, when my mother found out she was pregnant with my little sister, she locked herself in the bathroom and said, I can't have another one like her. No. I was the fork in the light socket kid. I was the razor blade in the mouth kid. Mama, should I have done this? So my mother says, no, you're a beautiful baby. I said, Mom, the mind is the first to go. But she's wonderful. And yeah, I was drawing it because I was into stuff. So my parents invested in paper, put it down on the floor, and found that if there was paper on the floor, I would keep drawing and I would stay in one place. So you can imagine my mother. And then my dad going, 1 sheet to nothing, 1 sheet to nothing. And they just throw more paper there to keep me in the spot so that they could have their sanity. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't you love learning? Learning is living, right? And over the pandemic, I was telling people, if you're bored watching all that TV, why are you watching all that TV? Learn something. I don't have time to watch TV. I'm still trying to get through Yellowstone. I started at Christmas. So I love it, but I'm doing stuff. So I decided to learn how to paint. And please don't be hard on yourself. I went with a teacher and she said, paint somebody. I painted myself because I didn't want to hear, it doesn't look like me, it doesn't look like me. Because it was me. So I said, I'll just paint me. And I'll paint until I think it kind of looks like me. I'm not going to care. I'm trying to get the medium. And I love collaborating with great people, which is why I became an Imagineer. The definition of Imagineer is collaboration with some of the greatest minds in the world. They put their ego in their back pocket and they get together and they make something magical. You're next to people working right by your side that you've admired all your life, Bob. And oh my gosh, Tony Baxter once said, the best time to be an Imagineer was when you were there, Terry. Not because Terry was there, but because we were humming, making this park so fantastic. Magical people, Kevin Rafferty, Joe Rohde, Marty Sklar, Herbie Ryman, who used to sit at my table, look at my work and say, fascinating. You are fascinating. You know what you do when someone like Herbie Ryman says that to you? You do this. I mean, seriously. Mark Davis, Alice Davis. You know these people. You guys have got to meet them. And look, they were all here. And now I get to follow in their footsteps. People I love more than my life. Like you guys. Scary, huh? I'm going to make y'all cry, aren't I? Oh, I told him to be tough. I said, Paul, pull out the stops, buddy. You didn't give a presentation. I'll take you on this ride. Bob Gurr said, you didn't give a presentation today. We have to hold on. Bless him. But when I was a little girl, we went before people and they said, we'll take your sister. My sister looks black. But that one right there with the hair, no. It looks like you and your husband did something. No. And I thought, did something? You mean like box tops and Cheerios? Or what do you mean did something? But I looked mixed, and they did not want a child who looks And back in those days, they could say it as meanly or unkindly as they wanted to. And my sister, if she didn't like the product, she would not promote it. And so her acting career went about this far. But I really wanted to do it. And you can tell that I really don't need this microphone, but I'm trying to be kind. But when I was in the 6th grade, I was out in the playground, and they were desperate to find someone who could sing to the back of the audience of a 300 auditorium and wasn't shy. And they heard me yell at my friend Sherry across the park, and they said, "That girl." And they put me on the stage, and they said, "You won't have to worry because the choir will sing with you." But I drowned them out. So I said, "Take 5, I got this." And I sang Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and I just fell in love with it. But people didn't like the way I looked. Okay? So you got 2 choices, guys. People don't like the way you look. You can get all mad and upset and all cranky. But you got to find a door that opens. Okay? That closes a door. Door that opens is, well, puppets will work. Nobody has to look at me. They can look at my characters. I can still do voices all I want, and a puppet can actually help you break up with your boyfriend. A puppet can be racist. And you can sit right next to your puppet and go, "Oh, that's terrible." So all you racists out there, get a puppet. Let him take the heat, not you. But that's what happened. As I started doing these puppets, I was being bullied, so I built a lamb chop after seeing Sherry Lewis. And I built a lamb chop at 6 years old, and he became my buddy. And now I'm striving. In fact, my dear friend David and his wife Jeannie, I was talking to him because the 2 of these people are so brilliant. And I asked him about manufacturers because I have this program where children build puppets, and it's called the Build-A-Buddy program. And I go into schools and help kids to build a character that they can share their innermost thoughts with if parents aren't quite cutting it. And then a teacher can talk to the child with a puppet too. Puppets are, Henson's showed you they're magical, but when you're live with people, they're magical. When you're puppeteering, they're magical, right, Bob? Because Bob has a Stitch puppet that he bid on, and to this day, he's always telling me great stories of him going around and performing with this character. So they really do open your heart and your life. And so that's what I did. I knew I wasn't going to be seen, so I used a puppeteer to be able to act without being seen. I didn't cry about it, I just did it. So if you're having that same trouble, get a puppet, and I'll teach it. Joe Bavaro. This man ironed his jeans. I was like, well, you know why you're divorced? You iron your own jeans, man. You know, your wife was like, "I'm not doing it right," you know. But Joe was a very quiet man with glasses, and many artists hated him because we would do very realistic art, and he would go, "You know, a realist is not really an artist. You're just copying nature. Take a picture." That was his attitude at the college. Take a picture. And I was like, "It takes great skill to be a realist. It's got to be good." And he's like, "Okay, but take a picture. It's easier. Art is from the heart. You don't copy. Stop copying." And so he made me do cubism, hated it. Had me do abstract, hated it. But I was really grumbly, but you give over to your teacher. And I finally did these 3 sculptures because I said, I'm just going to pull out all the stops. I'm going to do the Joe Bavaro School for Sculpting. And I made 3 sinks. The first sink you looked at had a tongue that was licking up the residue left in the sink. You see how you're groaning? That's the feeling I wanted. Check. The second one was a tongue that was coming out of the faucet, and it was going down toward the garbage disposal, and the garbage disposal had these razor sharp teeth, and that's the reaction I wanted to. Eek! And then the third one had a tongue coming from the faucet and a tongue coming up from the garbage disposal, and just the tips touched for that feeling. Joe went crazy. My teacher went crazy. It won so many awards, I had to back up the truck. And the light went on in my head. Art is about feeling. I had been doing portraits for people. I had been doing replicated work. But what Joe was trying to teach me is you gotta feel it and help other people feel it. And that's when my work got a soul. Thanks to this man. So your teacher may be forcing you to go a certain way. Just give over. That's what school is for. You're supposed to learn from your teacher, because if you're taught, you'll give your pieces a soul. If you've ever gone to a store, let's use angels as an example. You look at angels and one of them speaks to you. You love angels. Why do you pick that one? because that sculptor went to school to make it happen. You own a pug dog. You go to the store to get a pug dog sculpture, but they're hideous. Yucky, awful, horrible. Ooh, what's that one? Oh, that person took the time to learn how to put a soul in their pieces. So when you guys fall in love with some of my work, it's not because I'm so brilliant. It's because I followed my teacher and I listened. And listening is really cool. The reason you love my work is because I ask you. It seems kind of obvious, doesn't it? If you want to do something for others, you ask them. I wish Chapek would get that. It's so simple. You just ask the people who love the parks, why are you working so hard? That's why the Hitchhiking Ghost popcorn buckets are $5 for the set at that Disney discount store. Because they didn't work. How do you put popcorn in there anyway? What, a kernel? It's almost as good as the Millennium Falcon popcorn bucket. How do you call the Millennium Falcon a popcorn bucket when you can only put 2 pieces of popcorn in it? I don't get it. But this is why they fail. They fail because they don't ask you. All I do is ask you every single day, what am I going to sculpt next? What am I going to do next? What do you want next? And then magically, I did the Hitchhiking Ghosts. Oh, Lord. The most painful, excruciating, horribly hard ghosts I've ever done in my life. They illuminate like actual specters on your shelf. Limited to 50, I only have 2 left. And thank God I only have 2 left. Because they took my body and my blood and my bone. I kept thinking, I'm not going to survive this one because it's hard to do. Why did I pick during the pandemic? You know, if the lights to use weren't right, the company sent us other lights, like the real estate in a ghost is so big. You're sending me a flashlight. Why are you sending me? Where am I going to put that? You know, so, yeah. It's the electricity. You can see that I'm vibrating, so, yeah. I love you guys, really. You make my job so easy. Really. But like I said, you know, I'd love to meet Chapek because I'd like to say, you know, I got it for you, buddy. Ask the people who love the park. Oh, yeah. Being an Imagineer, oh, man. The long journey into the night. The longest day. Took 3 months for Disney to decide to adopt me into the Imagineering. And then when I walked in, the people that I was with said, what took you so long to get here? We need you. I said, well, you got to tell HR because they're not obviously clueless. But I had applied over and over and over in the front office at Imagineering. My mother even worked at Imagineering. She put this little blue card on, which was supposed to immediately give you an interview. That didn't work. So I'm sculpting in a little place near the Tongue Building. And those of you who don't know the Tongue Building, that's where the witch was first seen. That was in that question thing that you said. The best witch. She was there. And my friend was there. And I was in a little studio that was next to it called Shafton's Incorporated. And I sculpted McGruff the Crime Dog, Smokey the Bear, Charlie Tuna, all of those walk-around characters, as you know. I did most of the heads. So my friend walks in and he says, Terri, what are you doing in this place? I said, waiting for Disney to get a clue. And he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm making a water drop for Water and Power. And he's like, fun, huh? Oh, yeah, it's cool. I'm good. So he says, what are you doing? I said, well, I want to be an Imagineer, but I'm having some trouble. He says, well, let me help you with that. And lo and behold, he got me an interview. My hair stuck out way like this. It looked like a lion, you know, MGM, lion, me, not much difference. And so I walked in with this full head of blonde, fluffy hair, and the guard said, what the hell are you? And I said, I'm here to apply to be an Imagineer. And then I opened my portfolio, and Matt Pretty was the one that was my first interviewer, and he said, oh, where have you been? And I said, stupid me, I kept knocking at the front door, I should have gone at the back. So that's how it happened, and I was put in rock work, and then sculpted Big Thunder, and then Because I was working with a rather unpleasant fellow, I told my supervisor I get to pick the next ride, next attraction. And there was Dragon's Lair, a stone dragon that was supposed to not move in Paris. And I went, And Skip Lang, who was my supervisor, he said, what do you mean, You're making funny noises. I said, this dragon has to move. What are we, Magic Mountain or Universal? We're Disney. We can't have a stone dragon. And he was like, well, you can't talk to me. You have to talk to Tony Baxter. Well, who is this Tony Baxter? Get him down here. And he's like, you don't just get Tony Baxter down here. He's the vice president. He's senior VP. I said, okay, I'll go see him. Where is he? Terry, no. But I tell you what, if you can make your talk 20 minutes, I'll have him down here. So I spoke really fast, like many of you were there in the morning. I spoke really fast, and Tony said, if you stop, if you slow down, and I let you talk for a while, will you take me through your thoughts? And afterwards he says, I have one condition. And I said, what's that? And he said, you build it. Had I ever built a ride? No. Had I ever done an attraction? No. I remember Bob Gurr telling me a story of how Walt walked up and said, I need this, this, and this. And Bob says, I'm not sure we know how to do that. He says, yeah, but you got it. And he'd leave. Well, this is what it felt like. You got it, right, Tony? Must have been trained well. So off he goes, you know. And I'm like, okay, let's do this thing. I love dragons. I know how they move. I know what people like about them. I can do this. So my advice to you is if you get this opportunity, walk through the door and worry about it later. Just make it happen. Just believe. If I were going to do it, how am I going to do it? So that's how it happened. John Hinch, you know, he was going to come to my wedding. Bless his heart. What a warm individual. You know, the beauty of being a Disney person who really knows who they are as human beings is the Disney cruise ships. I always tell Tori about the Disney cruise ships and the lifeboats. Y'all know this story? Okay, so the Disney cruise ships, if you've ever seen them, have a beautiful yellowy lifeboat. But when you look at other cruise ships, do they have that color? No, it's some sad, rotten pumpkin color that I don't know where it came from. Well, when John Hench was designing the cruise ships, they said, this is the government color. John Hench said, not on my ship. And they said, but you don't understand. We don't have any flexibility here. Get some. All right? Because that's not working on the Disney ship. We will not have that horrible, what is that color? No. And so they said, all right. He says, I'll tell you what I will do. I'll sit with you and we'll go down and we'll wait until we're my color, but close to your color, so the government, and he got it done. This is an Imagineer. Imagineers don't necessarily take no for an answer. And you've never lived until you've been on a Disney cruise ship and every other flippin' cruise ship is taking your picture, is listening to your music. Boom, 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 instead of boom. How uncreative is that? But boom, boom. And now with the bigger ships, they play a whole gambit. You don't even have to get off. You can hear the whole music all yourself. If you park close and you're unfortunate enough to be on Carnival, you can hear it all too. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant. And that John Hinch story, when John told me that story, I said, I gotta be that person. I gotta be that person who says, no, you can do this. I'll help you. But you gotta do this. So, yeah. So Mark Davis, who came to judge my rose float. I designed a rose float for 1996, and the judge, master of ceremonies, was Mark Davis. How fun is that? I remember standing by my rose float and Mark saying, Terri Hardin, what are you doing here? I said, I designed this. What? I said, I probably shouldn't tell you that because you're judging it. But yeah, I mean, it was just wonderful. They have Mark Davis roll up. When I did my Tinkerbell tiptoeing across the map that you love so much, Alice Davis sent me Mark's turnarounds. She said, here, this is the one you need to be sculpting as you all had told me. And that's why you love her so much. Because Mark's drawings were my guide. Yeah, and you guys gave me the path because there were 7 or 8 Tinkerbells. I didn't know what to do. So I asked you. So yeah. Well, people say you're a former Imagineer. You're never a former Imagineer. I'm sorry. But Disney called me in during Shanghai, and they said, Terry, we'd love to have you come back because I'm really fast when carving foam, which is a lot like you put your flowers in, except for it's a lot harder. But I am a whirling dervish when it comes to carving this. Faster than most people. At least I used to be. Killer with a chainsaw. I remember a bunch of men said, what are you going to do with that, little lady? Do you know how to turn it on? Stand back, sucker. You might get hurt. And then I carved in about 10 days a giant Mrs. Godzilla because Disneyland didn't want to pay Godzilla rights for a parade. So they sat me down and they said, Terry, we'd love to have you back. And I said, but I have my own company now. And they said, well, you know what, Terry, if you're going to be in Disney, we're going to have you dissolve your company, which is understandable. I get it. But I said, I don't want to dissolve my company, so how can I help you? And they said, okay, so I became a consultant, better known as the come here, get away, Imagineer. That's me. So when Disney wants me to help, and they wanted me to help in Shanghai, they pop me out of my box. Terry, can you fix this for a couple weeks? And then I'm the first fired. And I don't mind that. I want to help them do a good job, and I'm fast, so you don't have to keep me, you don't have to adopt me. Just bring me in, let me, do my Cuisinartism, and then kick me out. I'm fine. And that's what they do. Down, back, sit, and then they put me on the shelf and wait till the next time. But I don't necessarily have to be available. And you all know what that does to Disney when you say, I'm not available. They want you more. But, it gives you opportunity to do a little bit here and still be a part of the company, which I'm very, very happy to be a part of. And I love it. And it gives me a little, I'm a type, my husband says I'm always one that swims between the lines. So I'm one of those people that swims between the lines with Disney and have the opportunity to do a drawing like you have on your table tonight, because that's my decision. I get to decide that. So I wanted you to have it, because I think you need a big thank you, and I was very flattered when they gave you both. So, I said, wish it had a chip. I was telling somebody, wish it had a chip, because the whole time I'm like, how many out there believe they're not an artist? Okay, for real? Like for real? Okay, I'm going to tell you what an artist is, because you all think you know what it is, right? An artist is someone who's passionate about what they do. They don't have to paint. They don't have to draw. My dentist is an artist. My dentist is one of the best artists in the business. He's a dentist. I have an accountant. Her palette is numbers. She can do numbers in her head. She can teach this artist bookkeeping. That's amazing, because I'm not good with numbers. My stepson and son back here, Ian Breckenridge Jackson, the amazing young man, got a PhD. I can't even spell that. All right? But he got it. And I'm at the ceremony, and people had to explain to me what was happening, because in school, I think I made it to my AA degree, which took me 4 years instead of 2 years. So you see where I'm coming from. I'm not dissing myself, but so smart. So smart. Sam and Mel over here, my in-laws, singer and trumpet player. I remember when Sam was playing the trumpet, Lindsay says, I'm going to take you to see my brother-in-law play the trumpet. And I was like, oh no, high school trumpet. Oh, I'm going to have to fake and be nice. It was freaking Pancho Sanchez. And he's there. And I'm like, holy cats, he is like a real musician. Unbelievable. And then Melanie, so sweet and lovely. Melanie says, I'm the backup singer. I'm a backup singer for Tower of Power. We go to the 50th. She's the backup singer for Tower of Power. He's the trumpet player for Tower of Power. And celebrate them, because they're retired now. Now they get to sit back with their dogs, hug each other, and watch their favorite movie. Because Sam is also, well, we know him as Sam. You all know him as Saul, is one of the best chefs in the world. Unbelievable. I don't think he really cooks. He just goes like this. Poof, magic. magic happens. So to be around people of this caliber, of this strength, doesn't mean that you have to paint or draw or sculpt. All right? I have a thing called Terry's Tribe. It was mentioned here. It's a group of people that help each other. There's a woman in there named Melissa Eiler. She is the great mouse detective. You defy her. You ask her. You need to find something. That woman will find it, and she'll find it before it's out of your mouth. I have never seen anyone more remarkable in my life. Stephanie Fix. I'm not an artist. One of the best planners in the business. It's not even her business. But my gosh, when she plans something, it's magical. Stuff unfolds and stuff, and you're like, who did this? You did it, Terry? No, Stephanie Fix did it. Evan Hunter taught me how to make a good sunny side up egg. And then out of all y'all who answered these questions, he wins tonight. What the heck? What the heck? So there are magical people out there. So now, how many of you are an artist? And you better all raise your hand. Every single one of you, hands in the air, and you better believe it. Say to yourself, you are an artist because you're brilliant, you're special, you're wonderful. Nicolasa made people who came to her 3 days later wanting to come to this dinner, and Nicolasa and her team, Brian and everyone here at Disneyana, and they're here. So come on, don't let yourself, let me not forget this guy over here. Lord have mercy. Magic on keyboards, wow. Theo's unbelievable. Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. You guys are unbelievable. Start to believe how unbelievable you are, all right? So you guys are making stuff pop out that just doesn't do it. I mean, I couldn't do it. I can't add numbers in my head, you know? So that's the way I feel about that. During the pandemic, I would talk for 5 hours on Friday and 5 hours on Monday. I'd start with my tribe for about an hour. And then as long as there were questions, I'd answer them. Because some people wrote me and said, there's no Disneyland, and I want to kill myself. Serious. They were in a dark place. So rather than judge them, because some people would go, come on, it's just Disneyland. What's the matter with you? These are the same people that paint their face 2 colors and jump up and down naked practically for a football team. I'm not understanding it, okay? If you're going to diss Disney people and you're going to go jump up and down on a tailgating party, drink and get drunk and paint your face 2 colors, that's okay. Just don't diss Disney folks for the same thing. Don't diss Star Wars folks for liking Star Wars. We can all love what we collect, you know? But I couldn't believe that these people were that. They said, please, Terry, you're the only voice that's keeping me alive. So I stood on there during the pandemic and just talked my little heart out. And it's weird if you've ever broadcasted to the camera. You begin to wonder if anyone's ever, maybe it's a dog and a couple crickets. You're not sure. You're just hoping someone out there is listening, you know? Because you see these people who have 5 million followers, and that kind of makes me nervous because I think that's a huge obligation. But I have really wonderful, you all who listen are wonderful. And the tribe is magical. I have 20, what do we have, Stephanie? Like 20 people here tonight from Terry's tribe. Came from everywhere. My friend Darren drove all the way down from up north. He said, I'm going to make this work. I want to come. I'm going to make this work. And just so sweet, and then thinks enough to bring me sourdough bread from my favorite sourdough place all the time. So heart's as big as Texas, and Texas isn't that big, really. So they're just, I just can't say it enough that you guys are, all of you are the creme de la creme. And although I urge you to join Terry's tribe, $5 a month, $60 a year, you know, I over-deliver because they do. You're not a tribe member for me. I wish I could take all the glory, but it's not true. It's all of these people that come together and help each other. Someone says I'm in a dark place, and they all just surround them with, they automatically do it. I'm not even there. So in a world where people are being angry at each other, hurting each other, and cutting people off about 50 times, that's my car, by the way, fool, that it's nice to go to a warm, comfy place and sit with people with like minds. And they're not all Disney. We talked comic books the other day because I was so dazzled by comic books. Do you know free comic book day comics are worth $3? In some cases, they are worth $3. That's 300% markup, guys, for a free comic. You walked in and you met some cool people, and then you walked out with a comic that's got ads, but they're really cool ads. So I was blown away, just blown away by all of the different things that you learn, yeah. Known for giving back. I really want everybody out there that is not doing what they love for a living, find me. That's my mission. You deserve, first of all, say you want to do, what you love as a career or as a good, strong hobby. And then you need to look in the mirror and tell yourself you deserve it. Don't sit there and listen to that voice who says, why you, okay? And this is why the tribe gets together, because why you happens. It happens. I spoke on a stage for $7,000. They paid me to stand on the stage and speak, and the voice said, why you? And I said, shut up, voice, I'm about to go on. You know, and that's what you got to do. And you go out there and you're shaking like a little bit, but you just play on it, you know? You pause. People say if you're afraid to speak and you have a problem and you don't have a puppet like Bob Gert, just put water up here. So you're telling your thing and you're like, uh-oh, brain fart in your head, brain fart, alert, alert. You know, and you drink the water. You drink the water. You think while you're drinking the water. You may be a pitcher down and people will begin to wonder what's going on. But the point is, it helps you to regroup and think. It's a trick of being a public speaker. So it's a fun thing to do. I mean, I know most people would rather be in the coffin than speaking about the person in the coffin. But it is definitely it's definitely wonderful. And I want to just give back to all of you because you give back to me every single day when you walk up and say, here's my niece, my nephew who wants to be an artist. They don't know what to do. How do we become an Imagineer? You know, when you tell someone how to become an Imagineer, you can say, study and draw a lot and practice. But kids today want the fast track. Now that's all true. Study, draw, practice. But you have a thing that I think is fascinating called social media. All right? So you put your stuff on social media, and we like it, like lemons, like, but you've got to share your dream too. If you are doing all these drawings and you want to be an Imagineer, you need to tell us, I want to be an Imagineer, here is my vision. It's dated. Disney will contact you. I know 3 people off the top of my head. Disney has contacted and given them jobs because they're watching you. So don't forget to put your dream on there and don't wait. There was an 8-year-old boy that Bob here would fall in love with. He had designed, I thought he was a miniature Tony Baxter. He had designed a roller coaster at 8 years old. And I said, did you post it? He said, yes. I did you tell them you wanted to be an Imagineer? He said, no. I said, your job, should you choose to accept it, go home, show him that thing and tell him you want to be an Imagineer if that's what you want to be. So you got to share your secret. When nobody knows it, we aren't mind readers. We're very, very magical, but we're not mind readers. So you got to talk to us. Tell it what you want. And then remember, a step in any direction, even if it is the wrong one, creates momentum. Even if it's the wrong one, it creates momentum, right, Evan? Okay, so Evan took a step in the wrong direction. I'm not working. And now he's working so much, he had to play hooky to get here. So seriously, it works. It works. It's not any Nam Myoho Renge Kyo stuff. It really works, but you have to have the strength to fight for your dreams. Don't let someone else tell you how to live your life. Okay, unless you're a bad person, but that's not here, right? But you know, somebody who's nasty and mean, you know, they're gonna get, it's gonna come up. Karma's real. But the point is that if you're a good person, a generous person, and you all are in this room, you deserve this. So please, please don't listen to that voice. And if you have trouble listening to that voice, then you need to reach out to me, and I will shake you down. I'm Miss Right. Yay! You want to go up here and get a picture? Wearing my heart on my shoulder tonight. Thank you. I'm so honored. I'm not humble, but I'm honored. No. Thanks a lot, love. Oh, so fun.